When you were a kid, did you ever learn how to creatively write? I didn't, and that's why our social impact project is Triangle Writer Studio.
So, hi everybody, my name is Sonia and Sarang. I'm a third-year majoring in finance and geography, and creative writing is my passion. I've been writing since the first grade, and I've even had the opportunity to be published. However, around senior year of high school, I realized that this isn't a love or passion that many of my peers share.
And I was one of those peers. My name is Sarang Deshpande, and I'm a third year at UNC Charlotte studying business analytics and finance. And until sophomore year of high school, I had a strong disdain for English class to the point where I was dreading going every day. However, thanks to my teacher at that time, I was able to overcome my aversion and gain a newfound appreciation for creative writing and the impact that it has on my life. However, with this appreciation came the realization that none of my peers really shared that appreciation for creative writing. So that's why we have this problem.
Yeah, so that kind of brings us to our problem, which is that education in this country just doesn't prioritize creative writing. In 2019, the federal government cut $897 million from the arts and English education budget. This means that the average K-12 student learns how to academically write and they'll learn their grammar, but they won't learn creative writing. And COVID has only further stunted students' abilities. According to the New York Times, just last week, students are over half a year behind compared to pre-COVID benchmarks. And in my own personal experience as a self-taught writer, finding these resources is really hard. There's not a lot of people out there that are helping students that are interested in this kind of thing.
So why does creative writing matter? Strong communication and the ability to pick the right word at the right time matters, with the most widely cited example of this being job employment. Employers state that on average, they're more likely to hire a candidate that has a strong command of the English language compared to a candidate that does not, just because of their ability to showcase mental clarity and a connection with others. In addition, creative writing builds empathy and understanding due to the students learning how to get in the mindset of the characters that they're writing about and putting them through the different experiences. Building empathy and understanding is especially important in the age of AI, just because of how depersonalized everything is becoming.
So that brings us to our solution, which is Triangle Writer Studio. We are a 501c3 providing virtual creative writing instruction to students K through 12. We emphasize small group learning, so this means about 3 to 5 students, classes taught by experienced high school and college students. We're going to charge about $10 a class, which isn't too expensive, but will help us cover any overhead, as well as make sure that our kids attend class, because if parents are paying for class, they'll make sure that their students attend. However, this $10 shouldn't be a barrier to anybody, and we will have fee waivers available. So our first step is to start spreading the word, and we'll start by using platforms that parents typically use, such as Nextdoor, Facebook, and Instagram. And we'll use these outlets to try and find students and volunteers. Secondly, we'll also approach schools to see if there's any opportunity for partnership. This summer, we'll be hosting free week-long writing camps. These camps will give parents an example of what they can expect from TWS's services, and hopefully many of those students will join our academic year program. And lastly, from there, we're hoping word of mouth will take the reins.
So here we have some financial projections for the first fiscal year, starting in June of 2024, and we've offered our pessimistic, expected, and optimistic outlook on these different for this first fiscal year. We've covered our revenue and the different expenses that we're expecting to cover, and you can see that in our pessimistic case, we're making approximately $920 per month, or in that 1 year. We're expected to make approximately $5,350 if all goes according to plan, and if things go better than the planned, we'll be making roughly $8,000. It's important to note that with each one of the expenses that we've listed out, there's a slight buffer incorporated to cover any unexpected fees that come up, and any net income that is left over at the end of the year will be reinvested back into the business to cover any areas of improvement that we've identified during our operations. So what comes next? As Sonia mentioned, in May to June of 2024, we'll be having the free week-long summer camps, which allows us to identify our volunteers as well as build our student base. In September 2024, when the academic year begins for our students, we'll also begin our weekly classes hosted by our volunteers. After our first month of operations, we'll be sending out our first newsletter showing parents what their students have learned so far and what they can continue to expect to learn in the future. In December of 2024, we'll be sending out mid-year surveys allowing parents to provide their input on what we've done well so far and what we can continue to improve in the future. And in April 2025, we'll be sending out another series of surveys, just once again gathering the feedback, as well as our first yearbook, showing the parents what their children have achieved and grown in their 1 year with the program. With your sponsorship, we'll be able to create a curriculum with experts, develop a website, and cover any nonprofit incorporation costs and attorney fees that may come up during our first year of operations.
So thank you all so much for your time, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, guys. Good presentation. I'm a mom to a 6th grader. She's good at communicating than I am, so I regret that. Can you give a little bit more information about if you have a plan for how you'd identify volunteers, like the syllabus or things of that sort?
Yeah, so our method for that will probably be, as we both are in college, so we have a good network of people that we know from college as well as high school. So we'll be reaching out to those people through our own personal platforms as well as asking our friends, and from there, it kind of just like works out, and from them people get their own friends, and that's how we'll identify our initial network.
And the advantage of being in college is that there's a lot of honor societies looking for volunteer opportunities, so we can also work with them, specifically focusing on maybe English or communication background students, and trying to get them to volunteer their time and provide
Exactly.
output for the society.
Sarang, I think I may be in your camp growing up as well. Tell me more about what you picture being unique about these camps that would make you and me excited to go to them when we were younger.
So truthfully, as a kid, I was not the biggest fan of summer camp just because, I don't want to wake up in the morning when I don't have school. But I think being able to work with students about, roughly in your same age, it allows people to make friends, first of all. I think that was one highlight of summer camp. Every summer camp has that. But in addition, I think being able to showcase your creativity, because I think that children have a lot of untapped potential when it comes to creativity, and being able to kind of have an outlet for that creativity in a supportive method, rather than being forced to, instead of talk about whatever science experiment. Not to, put any shade on science, but I think writing your stories is equally important to writing about science. So it just provides that unique outlet for the students.
And I'll add, I've been a tutor for a lot of English creative writing students, and they definitely have a lot of fun and things like this, especially when they get to work with others. So there's definitely like a good base for what we're starting.
I know presenting with 2 people can be challenging, but I think you guys nailed it on the balance, both with the Q&A and the presentation. So nice job.
Thank you.
You both had mentioned AI earlier, and I'm just curious if you see any opportunity to actually leverage it for the creative writing classes.
Yeah, so I think one thing that was mentioned to us during semifinalists was, if you can just give, ChatGPT or Claude or any of these just a prompt, and then they'll spit out whatever you want it to be. So we can also think about it as like, what is a story that would be unique to write about, and maybe seeing how you can come up with a creative prompt to provide to Claude, and then seeing how that works, because it is a tool if used properly. So we don't want to necessarily push away from it, but we also want to start getting that mindset of creativity. I think we're out of time, so.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.